you watch his film, you would not guess he's 5'11", but to me, he looks and plays a lot like Vernell Brown Jr.
Yeah.
A guy takes the top off the field, dangerous after the catch. Like he's the guy he's going to take a bubble screen and take it to the house. Um, Very versatile, can kind of play all the different positions, even though again he doesn't have that huge size that maybe you would expect to have an X. He's got such a good release and he can take the top off of a defense so easily that his game reminds me a lot of VB3 for sure. So I think he's the number 9 ranked wide receiver in the nation. So yeah, you see a 4-star. There's a lot of 4-star guys, but he's a top 10 wide receiver. So, and I think he's the number 3 highest rated recruit in the class as of now. So it's a much bigger get than just, it's a 4-star receiver, right? Because you get so many of those 4-star receivers at the University of Florida, and they kind of all just kind of blend in together, right? Like last year we had Davion Gross, Justin Williams, we had those guys, but Elias I expect to be a very big difference maker for the orange and blue going forward.
Yeah, I like the get. I think that this staff is doing a great job of attacking these positions, especially the wide receiver position. I mean, it just seems to be that they're just stacking here. Speedy Jennings being in there as well, and just what he brings to the table. I think they know what they want out of guys, and I think they know that we have like certain builds that are already here as true freshmen, and they're going and kind of filling in around that, which I like. This is a great get. I mean, honestly, obviously it's easy to say that about a top 10 in his position, but just being number 3 in the class, it just goes to show that the offensive staff is working. They're going to get in their guys. They're going to get in who we need for the positions and to mold the future. And my question for you is, how many receivers do you think that we need after him, right? Because of just say true freshmen that are on campus right now, right? And then guys that are in the class already, how many more are you thinking that we should go and grab just based on what we have right now? Because it's starting to get it to be a stacked room. It's starting to get really bunched in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a room I think that, when you look at the depth chart in the roster right now, right, it's an embarrassment of riches. There's guys everywhere all over that room that are going to be either difference makers and playmakers this year or in the next year or two. But at wide receiver, it's become one of those positions where you've got to take usually 3 to 4 guys every single year, and when you've got a room as stacked and as loaded with high end receivers like we do with Eric Singleton, Vernell Brown, and Dallas Wilson, Eric's got a year left. Vernell and Dallas, this is going to probably be their second to last year, and then they're gone. So you've got to keep stacking the talent there, because when you go out and you get these guys and then you have an offense like with Buster Faulkner that is explosive and prioritizes getting the ball to playmakers there, you've got to keep just stacking the room, because these guys are, hopefully it's a revolving door with guys going to the NFL, not the transfer portal, but a revolving door nonetheless. And so, if you look at the class right now, we've got, I think, 3 guys there. Tremont Collins, who's an athlete but projects to play wide receiver. We've got Anthony Speeding Jennings out of Fort Lauderdale. And then obviously now Elias here. That's number 3 in our class. I expect him to take definitely 1 more, but potentially up to 2 more, depending on, kind of who ends up, maybe wanting to commit. Maybe there's a flip there. We're still on the trail, looking hard and battling with some big schools for guys like Eric McFarland, Amari Patterson, and then obviously, there's still Easton Royal, the 5-star that's committed to Texas, hanging out there. And I know the Gator staff feels pretty confident where they are there, but they're trying to, flip him out of Texas, and so is LSU. So, I think they might take 1 more guy sooner rather than later, and then maybe down the line, if there is a potential to flip somebody, or if somebody who they didn't really have on their board ends up maybe becoming a little bit more of a take this cycle, they might take up to 5 guys.
Okay, yeah. I feel like that's a room that it's a competitive room, right? You get in where you fit in. Like, we're gonna take these amount of guys. It's not like quarterback, especially with someone like Buster Faulkner. You don't know how many receivers are going to be on the field at once throughout any given time. You got to get in where you fit in. So I don't think that it's a overly saturated room in the sense of that people will sway away from coming here because there's too much talent. I think they know what Buster brings to the table and what he can draw up and design up, and he will put the ball in your hands. You just have to make the opportunity count when you get it.
When you're gonna take 3, 4, 5 guys, and there's gonna be attrition there. So you're going to have, I mean, I think we've seen it pretty much in every single cycle since the transfer portal became a thing, right? We saw Hawkins leave, we saw Moise Tonkoro leave. So like you take 3 or 4 guys, one of them's probably going to leave within a year or two. It is what it is. They end up buried on that depth chart with the other 3 guys that really were standouts. You can pay those guys, and then you can't really pay him. So then he goes to maybe a bit of a smaller SEC school or a school in maybe in the Big 12 or the ACC. So you've got to that's a high volume position where you just got to take a lot of targets.
Yeah. And any position, I think maybe outside of what offensive line, I think you'd say in today's day, you got to worry about the transfer portal. I mean, they hit the ground running. They're like, oh, I didn't play this year, so I'm sour about it. I'm going to hit the road and go find somewhere else or money or whatever the case may be.